With the release of Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, the One Ring has fast become everyone's favorite draw utility, so we had to ask the question, who would wield it best? Today we'll be discussing our top 10 ring bearers in the command zone, and no, not the temptation mechanic ring bearers, but those that can use the One Ring best. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave it a like, it goes a long way in helping this channel, but without further ado, we'll start with my favorite ring bearer. Oswald Fiddlebender, for a generic and a white 2/2 legendary creature gnome artificer. Magical Tinkering, for a white, tap, sacrifice an artifact. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrifice artifact's mana value, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. Oswald has always been a fantastic toolbox commander. Sadly though, he's had a bit of a hard time closing out games. But now, with the One Ring, all of that is about to change. Manipulate Voltaic and Manifold Key to get multiple activations off the One Ring. Both Unwinding Clock and Clock of Omens to draw through your deck, and ultimately, using Krark Clan Ironworks or Metalworker, storm off with artifacts on turn for the win. Finishers in my list include Halo Fountain and Walking Ballista. Link to said list is in the description down below, but this card has changed so much of the overall strategy of this deck. I cannot tell you how fun it is to drop this card on turn 2 and start storming into a win. You just have to try it yourself. Arkham Daxon, for 3 generic and a blue, 2/2 legendary creature, human artificer. Tap. Target artifact creature's controller sacrifices it. That player may search their library for a non-creature artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Arkham fell off the face of the earth since Paradox Engine was banned. Now, Arkham may become a very solid control commander. On the first activation, get the ring, and get 1 draw. Next activation, get Unwinding Clock to get 2 draws on turn, followed by 3, 4, and 5 draws at minimum off. Finally, get Clock of Omens out and draw deck. You'll notice a theme here with some of the core cards mentioned. The clocks in particular work very well with the One Ring to help storm into a win with artifact-heavy decks. Joyra, Ageless Innovator, for Izzet 2/3 legendary creature, human artificer. Tap. Put 2 Ingenuity counters on Joyra, Ageless Innovator. Then you may put an artifact card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is the number of Ingenuity counters on Joyra. In cEDH, one of the biggest bottlenecks is mana. This Joyra can allow you to easily cheat in the One Ring along with any untap effects, and no one's counterspell can stop you. Well, outside of a Lone Stifle. Mix this with a creature untap or 2, and not even Rule of Law can stop you from getting your hands on the One Ring. The One Ring will favor commanders that specifically play for it, and Joyra Ageless Innovator is one such wielder of the precious. Trazyn the Infinite, for 4 generic, double black, 4/6 legendary artifact creature Necron, Death Touch. Prismatic Gallery. As long as Trazyn the Infinite is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all artifact cards in your graveyard. Trazyn has a 1-card win with Buried Alive for Phyrexian Devourer and Walking Ballista, but the deck's mid-game has been extremely weak. If you need to play through a grindier match, how about entombing the One Ring? That way you can use artifacts and creature untaps while avoiding the fate of the One Ring's damaging passive effect. Trazyn is a really good backup plan for the One Ring, provided it's countered on the cast. Remember, you are in black, so you have the best tutors at your disposal. Provided it gets countered, play Trazyn. Tawnos, Urza's Apprentice, for Izzet 1/3 legendary creature, human artificer. Haste. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an artifact source. You may choose new targets for the copy. Tawnos has been a compelling off-meta deck using Sands of Time to get infinite untaps. Sadly, Tawnos has felt lacking outside of that combo. But if you add the One Ring, Tawnos can now double up the ring's draw effect and keep your hand filled all game, pulling into interaction and combo cards along the way. Every deck needs a good draw utility, and Tawnos benefits doubly off the burden counters on the One Ring, scaling with each activation. Once you pull into Sands of Time, you can use it with the One Ring to draw the rest of your deck. Derevi, Imperial Tactician, for Bant 2/3 legendary creature, Bird Wizard. Flying. Whenever Derevi Imperial Tactician enters the battlefield, or a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may tap or untap target permanent. For 1 generic and Bant, put Derevi onto the battlefield from the command zone. Derevi has been an outstanding combo card in several cEDH decks, but has been seeing less and less play as a commander. However, if you mix Derevi with the One Ring, you can draw several cards the turn the ring enters. Let's say you have 7 creatures and an opponent that can't block. Play the One Ring. Swing, and get 7 Derevi untaps that all target the One Ring. Tap the One Ring in between each untap for a total of 36 draws. Derevi has always been a potent combo enabler, and now there's just another reason to consider her as your commander. Any Derevi players out there, I'm curious to see if you are also incorporating the One Ring into your list. Eorith of the Healing House for 2 generic and a blue 1/4 legendary creature, human cleric. Tap. Untap another target permanent. Tap. Untap 2 other target legendary creatures. Lord of the Rings has given us several new commanders, one of which is an untap effect for the One Ring. Eorith gives you an untap each turn. If the One Ring comes in contact with any untap effect, it quickly gets out of hand. Once you draw into Sakashima and another copy creature, you can get infinite untaps to draw your deck with the One Ring, while playing everything you draw with infinite mana. The One Ring is extremely potent draw, even in monocolored lists. I'm curious to hear what other monocolored commanders you are considering the One Ring in. Captain Sisay for 2 generic Selesnya 2/2 legendary creature, human soldier. Tap. Search your library for a legendary card, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. The original Sisay went from meta monster to interesting Stacksmander with the banning of Paradox Engine. The One Ring may not be able to restore her to her former glory, but adding consistent draw to your Stacks deck can get you some wins as the game slows down. So dust off that Sisay list. The One Ring is calling. Arkham and Oswald have a little bit of an advantage being able to put the One Ring directly into play, but Sisay is still a great option for carrying out Lord Sauron's will. I mean, playing the One Ring. Estrid, the Masked. For 1 generic and Bant, 3 loyalty counters, legendary planeswalker, Estrid. For +2, untap each enchanted permanent you control. For -1, create a white aura enchantment token named Mask, attached to another target permanent. The token has enchant permanent and totem armor. For -7, put the top 7 cards of your library into your graveyard. Return all non-aura enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then do the same for aura cards. Estrid the Mask can be your commander. Estrid has gotten some nice toys recently. Displacer Kitten gave Estrid the ability to storm off with untaps, making her a mini Paradox Engine. Now, add in the One Ring. Flickering Estrid gives us the ability to untap the One Ring repeatedly on turn to draw through our list and make gross amounts of mana through her -1 ability, ultimately pulling into either the Chain Veil or storming into a win with Displacer Kitten. Estrid didn't need that much help, but the One Ring will definitely help her consistency with the added draw and of course its ability to be a storm utility with Displacer Kitten. Varel of the Hull Clade for 1 generic and Simic 1/4 legendary creature, human merfolk. For Simic and a tap, double the number of each kind of counter on target artifact, creature, or land. Has Varel finally gotten a viable cEDH deck? Stall out the game while building counters on things like Astral Cornucopia and Everflowing Chalice, till finally playing out the One Ring. Start multiplying its burden counters to get some ridiculous draw going, tossing in an untap effect or 2 to really get the ball rolling. Ultimately, I foresee drawing the deck and playing, you guessed it, Thassa's Oracle. Truthfully, a Dramatic Scepter line of play could pull into one of any number of win cons with infinite mana and the One Ring, but Thassa's Oracle is likely the easiest option for both you and your opponent using Praetor's Grasp, so be careful not to overuse the Oracle here. However, who is your favorite commander as the ring bearer of the One Ring? Did we cover it in this video today, or do you have one that you're building for right now that manipulates the One Ring beautifully? I have to say, Oswald has changed for the better. I absolutely love playing that deck now, and I cannot wait to keep slamming this card at kitchen tables. But I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, your local game guy, and for more news and reviews on your favorite TCGs, subscribe to LGG and send this video along to the next gamer with a like. Thank you.